Hi everyone, I'm Davide Marchegiani and I'm doing a PhD at Monash University under the supervision of Dietmar Dominger. Today I would like to talk about counteracting global warming by using a locally variable solar radiation management. Alright, what is solar radiation management? It is basically a branch of geoengineering and it aims to counteract global warming by reducing the amount of sunlight absorbed within the climate system. So in the past few decades, a lot of experiments have been carried out around geoengineering and specifically solar radiation management. And most of them show that although solar radiation management is actually able to somehow offset global surface temperature due to increased greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, it will still leave major regional and seasonal changes. On top of that, it will also produce a substantial decrease in rainfall, which is definitely something we don't like. So we wanted to address this problem, and to do that we started off by using GREB model, which is a simple climate model capable of simulating the main characteristics of the climate system, in which we could easily control some forcing, such as the amount of CO2 or shortwave radiation, and the model was able to give us variables such as surface temperature or rainfall as output. To try and offset both surface temperature and rainfall, our main idea was to deploy a localized solar radiation management, which in GREB basically consisted of giving as input a shortwave radiation matrix that we could modify in longitude, latitude and time independently. So we did that and we carried out three main experiments: our double CO2 experiment, double CO2 with homogeneous solar radiation management, and double CO2 with localized solar radiation management. And as you can see from our GREB results, we were able to effectively offset both surface temperature and rainfall by using the localized solar radiation management approach, with very low global mean anomalies and regional changes as well. And to obtain these results, we had to decrease our shortwave radiation by around 5.5% overall. Now, since GREB is a simple climate model, we wanted to try and apply a similar approach with a more complex GCM. So we started carrying out experiments using model as well. And here things of course got a lot more complicated and we have not yet been able to offset both surface temperature and rainfall. But some of those experiments still gave us pretty interesting results. For example, we started with trying to reproduce literature, so we carried out an experiment with quadrupole CO2 and decreased solar constant so that we could offset global surface temperature. And the results basically agree with literature in a way that even though we have very little changes in surface temperature as a global mean, regional anomalies are still pretty high and rainfall is largely decreasing overall. Then we thought, okay, but what if the regional differences in surface temperature are actually the major drive of these differences in precipitation? So we carried out two more experiments, in both of which we fixed surface temperature to be the control one. And then we had respectively quadrupole CO2, which would be the one on the left side, and increased solar constant, which is the one on your right side. And as you can see from the results, in both of them there are major rainfall anomalies, both in terms of regional changes and also global mean. However, the global mean precipitation is decreasing by a much smaller quantity in the decreased solar constant experiment compared to the 4 times CO2 one. This may suggest that the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere is directly related to the global changes that we see in the precipitation. However, we don't have yet a clear relationship between these effects, as well as other possible reasons why precipitation overall is still decreasing in all of our experiments. And this is basically what we are currently focusing on, to try and dig more into what's happening in the climate system of those experiments in order to give a thought-of explanation to that effect, and hopefully then be able to at least theoretically offset both precipitation and surface temperature in the model as well. Well, if you want to know more about my project or for any questions or comments, please feel free to send me an email. I'll be more than happy to have a chat. Thanks a lot for listening.